Bell Canada is trying to reassure Canadians tonight that it only turns over basic customer information to government agencies without a warrant. Still, the news that Canada's major telecoms are handing over vast amounts of personal data at all sparked a lot of reaction today and demands for more information, which, ironically, was not forthcoming. Senior correspondent Terry Milewski has more. Terry.
Well, Wendy, after hearing so much about government spying, it's hard to know if people even expect much privacy anymore. But it was still a shock to discover that more than 1 million times a year, Canada's government gets telecommunications companies to hand over customers' data without telling the customers.
There is no information for us or any Canadian to know whether the way the information is disclosed to government authorities is within the parameters of the Act.
The Privacy Commissioner says companies should be compelled to disclose what kind of data they hand over and why. But as it is, we only know that it happened 1.2 million times in just 1 year, 2011.
How can the Prime Minister justify the invasion of the privacy of 1 million Canadians by his government?
Canadian investigative law enforcement and other agencies will, from time to time, request information from telecom companies. They always do this, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the law. They always seek a warrant when they are required to do so.
So how many warrants were there, and how often was there no warrant? Lots of questions, no answers.
What were they asking for? What did they receive? Why were they asking for this information?
The government and the telephone companies are cagey about all of that. Bell Canada, for example, says it provides basic 411-style customer information, such as name and address, which is defined as non-confidential and regulated by the CRTC. Any further information or anything related to an unlisted number requires a court order. But there's no explanation of what that further information might be.
I would like to know the scope of personal information that is disclosed to government authorities with or without a warrant, and what type of information is disclosed.
And without those details, privacy advocates say there's no way to monitor what's going on.
There's really no rigorous oversight to evaluate the appropriateness or inappropriateness of the request in the first place, to say nothing of how that data is then used or not used, as the case may be, in investigations.
Now, the Prime Minister did stress today that the government plans to update the existing legislation. What he didn't say was that that new bill will make it easier, not harder, for companies to hand over subscribers' data to the government. Wendy.
Thanks so much, Terry. Terry Milewski tonight in Ottawa. Last month, the Halifax Chronicle-Herald reported that Canada Border Services accessed customer data provided by telecoms almost 19,000 times in 1 year. That's about 50 times a day. It didn't use a warrant in 99% of those cases, and only 13 of the individuals whose data was accessed were ever told.